Hello beautiful people, polyphonic singers. So in this video I wanted to quickly talk on something that somebody shared yesterday. So Samantha asked to elaborate further on how overtone or polyphonic singing can be utilized to cultivate and deepen one's personal and self-confidence, and does it relate to the fact that it can be utilized as a tool for mindfulness or meditation. And there was two things that I wanted to talk on. So the first is the more tangible external aspect and how this as a practice can be utilized to build the self-confidence externally. And secondly, I wanted to draw the attention inwards and how it can be used to regulate the nervous system and deepen one's self-awareness, which ultimately increases one's confidence in who they are, because to have confidence in oneself is to know oneself, one's strength, one's ability, one's values, one's true nature, and the uniqueness that all of us bring, and specifically the uniqueness in which we can express through our voice, which differs for every single person. So firstly, how do we build self-confidence? Well, if you're going to look at ways that we can operate in the world and ways that we can go out and practice it, this can be built through utilizing different skills and through consistently practicing them, and over time getting the momentum, which then means that we have confidence in our ability to carry it out, which is increased self-efficacy, which is inextricably linked to building self-confidence. And to have confidence in oneself means keeping the promises that you make to yourself. And how do we do that? By showing up every day and doing what we say we're going to do. So if you look at overtone singing as a skill or a practice that can be developed, then maybe you commit to practicing it for 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day, or every second day. That's up for you to decide what you're going to commit to. And so every day when you schedule that in and you show up and you practice, that is building your confidence from within, because you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, today I did what I said I was going to do. I have confidence in my ability to show up and follow through. So that's a really quick external way, and a way that oftentimes is talked about as key to building confidence in one's abilities and self. Now, the second way also, if you're going to look at it as a form of mindfulness, you can apply that exact same thing to adopting it as a practice for mindfulness, as a way to really tune in to oneself. And I really like Russ Harris's definition of mindfulness, who is the founder of acceptance and commitment therapy. And I wrote it down just so I can get it correct. So it's very simple. He just said it's constantly bringing your awareness to the here and now experience with openness, interest, and receptiveness. And that's why I often emphasize to approach this practice of curiosity, to explore your unique voice, because it's different for every single person, and your overtone, there's no definitive set outcome, there's no destination. It's a process of tuning in and being like, wow, where's my voice at today? Can I deepen it? Can I make it higher? The voice is powerful, and the reason I chose to say his definition of mindfulness, because acceptance commitment therapy believes that language and the words that we use carry vibrations, it carries symbols, meanings. We attach so much to words to try to express our experience, so often that it takes us into the head. And when we're just stuck in the thinking, we start to disconnect from the body and the feeling. And what I love, love, love about throat singing or overtone or polyphonic singing, it really lets go of any kind of words or any kind of meaning that we can assign, and it's just about pure self-expression. And through that pure self-expression, instead of thinking, oh, this is the technique, or this is how it's meant to sound, or it should or shouldn't sound a certain way, it's about dropping into the body. It's about just letting it come out, and what comes out reflects what you're feeling. It reflects your current state of being rather than doing. And that's why I love the fact that it's really just about letting go and expressing through sound, which in itself, you know, for thousands, hundreds and thousands of years has been used as a tool for healing. And so that's the second point that I wanted to make, was about this practice being utilized to really regulate the nervous system. We can constantly be in, you know, fight or flight or freeze mode and be run by our adrenals 24/7. And once again, the fact that we have constant verbiage and words going through our mind and stories on repeat and repeat and repeat can often solidify that state of fight or flight or nervous response, reaction. And what I like about overtone singing, once again, it allows you to take a step back and carry out these long, wholesome vowel sounds, which, because the body is predominantly made out of water, and because we obviously are made of energy, we can learn to treat sound in a malleable way to change the state within ourselves, to put this downward flow of energy and circulate it through. That might sound a bit woo-woo, but look up, you know, there is science on the fact that looking at water and sound and how that can change the patterns of it. And even just a really basic example. So when I went to a meditation group a little while ago, the instructor had one of the sound bowls, which he filled with water. And as he was going around very slowly, you started to see these different patterns emerge in the water, all very symmetrical, all very ordered, and it was in, you know, in sync with the sound. So it was wholesome, it was like in alignment, if that makes sense. I'm not sure of the quiet word. It just was like, it was right. You could see how the sound was affecting the patterns of the water in a way that was very ordered and beautiful. And then as he started to get faster and faster and faster, which you might be able to equate to as the mind gets faster and faster and faster, the water started to shake, and eventually the water started to burst up and it was literally spurting everywhere. And he's like, when you have so much going on in your head, you literally like lose sense of who you are, and this is what's happening in the body. And how can we have confidence in who we are when we're constantly in fight or flight? Because we're not tapped into our true wholesome nature. We're in survival mode, which is just like very animalistic. And I find that if we're running around in survival mode, we're constantly jumping from one thing to another. It's very frantic energy. And if we're going to have confidence in who we are, you know, our self-awareness, our values, what our truth is, what lights us up, what self-expression feels like, we don't have room for self-expression. We don't have room for order when we're constantly in that state. So I find that by practicing this as a meditation, we can really slow down and treat that long sound just like the slow going around the sound bowl with the water in it, like our body. This is creating harmony from within. And it's only when we can access that state of harmony and regulate our nervous system that we actually give ourselves the opportunity to be able to have that inquisitive nature that goes beyond the survival mode and start asking these questions of, you know, who am I? What do I stand for? What do I value? What do I want to express? What strengths do I have? All these things can come from a quiet, regulated place. Because like I said, as you probably know, when you're in fight or flight, you're not thinking about, what are my values? How do I choose to spend my time? You're just like, I just need to get out of this frantic space and do whatever I can. And usually that involves some kind of distraction, whether it's, you know, numbing or dissociation, which then brings us further from our truth and further from the person we actually want to be. I'm not saying that overtone singing is, you know, the answer or anything like that. I'm saying it's one tool that I personally have found that allows me to get out of the head, that allows me to drop in and start to regulate my nervous system and really come back to who I am. So that's one way from within, as well as it being a practice that I can commit to and consistently see progress over time. That builds some confidence in my ability to show up and follow through with something that I'm passionate about. So I hope that makes sense in that context, and I'd love to hear any thoughts that you have down below. I'll also, something that I didn't touch on, which I'm sure many of you are aware, and to be honest I haven't looked that much into, but of course there's the whole thing about sound frequencies, like, you know, 432 hertz, meant to be the frequency of the heart, for example. And that's also another way that we can start to heal and tune into different aspects of who we are through music. So that's the meditation aspect. I'll post a video down below on that. And if you have any videos or resources, I would love to hear. And as always, much love and have a beautiful day, everybody. And thank you, Samantha, for your question.